Have you ever paused to wonder why certain relationships in your life feel like a heavy burden instead of a source of joy? Why some connections seem to drain your spirit rather than uplift it? Family bonds, though cherished and often considered unbreakable, can sometimes be the very source of our deepest wounds. Yet in the midst of this paradox, a question arises. Could there be a divine purpose even in the heartbreak caused by those we hold dearest? Today, we'll explore 6 signs that God might be protecting you from a family member who brings you down. If you've been struggling with a difficult relationship, this message might be exactly what you need to hear right now. Peace is one of the most profound gifts God gives to his children. It's not the fleeting peace the world offers, but a deep and abiding stillness that surpasses all understanding. When you begin to feel this peace after distancing yourself from a family member, it's a sign that God is at work, shielding you from the turmoil that person may bring. This peace is not a coincidence. It's a protective measure, a gift from a loving Father who desires wholeness for your life. Think about how peace feels when it returns after stepping back from a difficult relationship. It's not just the absence of conflict, it's the presence of God. You might find that your thoughts become clearer, your sleep more restful, and your heart less burdened. This is God gently whispering, I am here. I am guarding your heart and mind. Trust me, if this peace comes only after you've taken a step back from a family member, it's a powerful indication that God is actively protecting you. Distance doesn't always mean permanent separation, but it provides the clarity needed to assess a relationship's impact. When we're too close to a toxic situation, it can cloud our judgment and distort our perspective. Stepping away gives God the space to work on your heart and theirs. It allows you to discern whether the relationship is one that aligns with His will or one that threatens your spiritual well-being. Remember the words of Psalm 34, verse 14. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. Sometimes pursuing peace means letting go of what disrupts it. Words have immense power. Proverbs 18, verse 21 tells us, the tongue has the power of life and death. Words can uplift and encourage, but they can also wound deeply and leave scars that linger for years. When a family member's words once held the power to bring you down, yet now feel like a distant echo, it's a clear sign that God is intervening in your life. He is breaking the chains of negativity and freeing you from the control their words once had over your mind and spirit. This change doesn't happen by accident. It's the work of God's Spirit who shields your heart and renews your mind. Think of Ephesians 6, verse 16, where we are instructed to take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Hurtful words are like flaming arrows aimed at your self-worth and confidence. But when God steps in, He equips you with the strength to deflect these attacks and stand firm in His truth. As their words lose their sting, you begin to realize something extraordinary. Your identity is not defined by what others say about you, but by what God says about you. You are His child, fearfully and wonderfully made, loved beyond measure. The opinions of others pale in comparison to the Creator's declaration over your life. This shift in perspective is liberating. It's God's way of protecting you from further harm and reminding you of your true worth. Over time, you may even feel compassion for the person who once hurt you with their words, understanding that hurt people often hurt others. When doors seem to close around the influence of a family member, it's often a sign that God is working behind the scenes to protect you. These closed doors may manifest as fewer opportunities to interact, strained communication, or even physical distance. At first, it may feel painful or confusing, especially when the person is a close family member. But what if these closed doors are not coincidences, but divine interventions? God knows the depths of every heart. He sees motives, intentions, and actions that may be hidden from us. While you might only see the surface of a relationship, God sees its impact on your spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being. His wisdom surpasses ours, and He often intervenes in ways that we may not immediately understand. A closed door is not necessarily a rejection. It is God's way of redirecting your path towards safety, peace, and His divine plan for your life. Consider the story of Noah. When God instructed him to build the ark, there must have been immense emotional difficulty as he distanced himself from those who mocked and ridiculed him. Yet when the time came, God himself shut the door of the ark, sealing Noah and his family inside and protecting them from the flood. In the same way, God may close doors in your life to protect you from emotional floods caused by relationships that drain your strength and peace. Trust his timing. Isaiah 22 verse 22 says, "When he opens a door, no one can close it, and when he closes it, no one can open it." The doors he closes are for your protection. When God begins to protect you from a family member, one of the most profound signs is a sudden clarity about their true intentions. Relationships, especially with family, are built on trust and love, but sometimes we can be blind to patterns of manipulation, jealousy, or toxicity because of the deep bonds we share. When you start to see these behaviors for what they are, it's not your imagination. It's God revealing the truth to you. This revelation often comes gradually. You might notice subtle patterns that once seemed harmless but now appear harmful. For example, a family member might habitually undermine your confidence, dismiss your achievements, or use guilt to control you. These behaviors, while painful, often go unnoticed because of the love and loyalty you feel. But when God begins to remove the scales from your eyes, He allows you to see the relationship in its entirety, the good, the bad, and the destructive. The Bible speaks about the importance of wisdom and discernment. Proverbs 2 verse 6 says, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." Understanding someone's true intentions doesn't mean you must immediately cut them off. Instead, it's an invitation to approach the relationship with wisdom and boundaries. God does not call us to hatred or vengeance, but he does call us to guard our hearts. Proverbs 4 verse 23 reminds us, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." As you come to terms with this newfound clarity, you might wrestle with feelings of betrayal, sadness, or anger. These emotions are natural, but they're also an invitation to lean into God's grace. He is not only revealing the truth about others, but also drawing you closer to himself. When God begins to protect you from a family member who brings you down, one of the clearest signs of his intervention is the arrival of new, uplifting relationships in your life. These relationships are not accidental or coincidental. They're a deliberate provision from God to remind you of his love, care, and purpose for you. When a toxic family member has drained your spirit and left you feeling unsupported, God steps in and fills the gap with people who nurture, encourage, and uplift you. God's design for relationships is rooted in mutual love, encouragement, and growth. Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 10 emphasizes the importance of this, saying, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." Toxic relationships often do the opposite. They push you down instead of lifting you up. But uplifting relationships reflect God's heart for you, offering support when you stumble and celebrating with you when you rise. As these relationships begin to form, you may notice a sense of ease and authenticity that was missing in your previous interactions. There's no longer a need to tread carefully, second-guess your words, or anticipate criticism. Instead, these new connections bring peace and joy. You feel safe to be your true self, knowing you are accepted and valued without pretense. This is a reflection of God's unconditional love for you, manifested through others. The shift from toxic to uplifting relationships can also be a confirmation that you made the right decision in distancing yourself from negativity. God uses these new connections to show you what healthy, God-honoring relationships look like. One of the most remarkable signs that God is protecting you from a family member who brings you down is a renewed and undeniable pull toward your purpose. This shift doesn't happen by accident. It is the result of God removing distractions and toxic influences that cloud your vision and hinder your progress. When God shields you from relationships that drain your spirit, He redirects your energy and focus toward the unique calling He has placed on your life. Toxic relationships often create noise in your life. The constant conflict, criticism, or manipulation consumes your mental and emotional energy, leaving little room for the clarity needed to pursue your goals. But when God removes this influence, you'll notice a profound shift. The mental fog lifts, and suddenly you can see the path ahead more clearly. Proverbs 16 verse 9 reminds us, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." When He shields you from the noise of negativity, He is establishing your steps, guiding you toward the plans He has designed uniquely for you. Have you ever felt a dream reignite in your heart after years of dormancy? This is often a sign that God is pulling you toward your purpose. Toxic relationships can have a stifling effect on your dreams, making you feel as though your aspirations are unattainable or unworthy. But as God protects you and restores your confidence, those dreams resurface, filling you with fresh possibilities and renewed hope. This pull may feel like a whisper at first, a gentle nudge reminding you of the passions and talents God placed in you long ago. As you lean into His presence and guidance, this whisper grows louder, becoming a clear and undeniable call to action. Through all these signs, one truth remains constant: God is faithful. He sees every tear, hears every prayer, and knows every unspoken pain. His protection is not always easy to understand, and it often requires letting go of what feels familiar or comfortable. But His ways are higher than ours, and His plans are always for our good. Trusting Him means believing that He is working all things together for your benefit, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. If you've been experiencing these signs in your own life, I encourage you to take them to heart. Reflect on how God has been working, even in the midst of challenges. Trust that His protection is a sign of His love and His commitment to your well-being. Surrender your pain, your questions, and your fears to Him, knowing that He is a good Father who desires the best for His children. Remember, your story is far from over. God is writing a new chapter in your life, one filled with hope, joy, and purpose. Every step you take toward healing and growth is a step toward the future He has planned for you. Walk boldly in His protection, knowing that He is with you every step of the way. If this message resonated with you today, please hit the like button and share it with someone who might need this encouragement. Leave a comment below about which sign stood out to you the most. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you in His perfect peace.